Welcome. This is an update to my 3D game design terrain tutorial series. What happened is we have a newer Unity version 2020, 21, 22, and some of the assets that we use in this series are outdated. So I'm going to give you some updates, beginning with the installation process. To get started, I want you to go to the yellow folder and click on this PC, click on D, and if you haven't already, right-click New Folder and create your name folder with your year of graduation. Here I have mine. Inside, you're going to right-click, so you're inside your folder. You're going to right-click New Folder, and you're going to type Terrain Project, and why not put 22 on it, the year that we're working on this project. Then you're going to return to Unity Hub, where you are going to be signed in. Hopefully you have an install of the 2021 or so edition already. If not, please call me over for some help. And then under the Projects tab, click New Project. The location of our 3D project is going to be your D name folder, Terrain Project. Project name, we're going to call it Terrain Project 22 if you like. And we're going to be sure to use Unity Core, not the URP, which I had might have shown on the screen. So we want 3D Unity Core and create project. This process does take a little bit, so be patient. Now that it's been set up, what we're going to do is we're going to actually import some more assets in here for later on. So to do that, you're going to return to the assignment, and where it says Terrain Demo Assets 22, you're going to download these. So you can click and download using this download button or this one over here. You're going to locate your D drive folder, Terrain Project, Assets, and right here you're going to save. So we're in our Assets folder for this project. Once it's complete download, you could show in folder, which is one quick way to get to this exact download location, and right click, extract all, this zipped folder. Now I just had this message come up, no big deal. It's just saying that this file is too long. This is a meta file that I accidentally left in there, so we can skip that. Skip. Right, so skip those meta files, that's fine. Now watch as we return to our project. You'll get the spinning wheel, and it's automatically importing the assets. So that being said, anything you put in the assets folder will import automatically. All right, once it is launched, ready to go, we can see that we have our assets here, and here's the Terrain Demo asset package that I had you guys download. It includes some environmental textures that in my previous tutorial are no longer valid for this version of Unity. The fence, the log, first-person character, which is also an update, sounds, stone bridge tower, and of course a wagon from Resident Evil. Alright, so to get started, I'm going to have you all go ahead and go to Game Object, 3D Object, Terrain. And what this does is it creates, well, land that you can then walk around on and enjoy. Well, before we do that, let's give it some texture. Now, I had you guys download some texture, so hopefully we can get it to work here. In order to do this, we come over to the right side inspector here, where it says Terrain, and you have a variety of buttons here. One is Create Neighborhood Terrains. Do not use that. Paint Texture, which is what we're going to use. Paint Trees, paint ground cover, and some other settings. Right now, let's do paint texture. Let's come down to edit terrain layers, create layer, and let's pick grass. Let's use this one here. Grasswell 1. There we go. Looks like grass. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to edit again, create another layer, and if you want you can type in ground in the search. There's different ground ones here. For example, I'm going to try this one here. Notice how I can select my layers now and actually brush on the different texture. So to make like kind of a dirt path, if you will, that's how you would do it. Let's return up to the top here where it says you have these tabs. You have paint texture. Instead of paint texture, use raise and lower terrain. Choose a type of brush and try raising the terrain. Now, I'm going to observe that it gets a little kind of spiky, so you don't want to get too crazy with that. You can change your brush size and opacity. If you make a mistake, hold shift and it'll return or lower. So again, if I do a kind of a mountain right there, it's too spiky, I'm going to hold shift and kind of smooth it down. There's different brush types, so you can get a different kind of mound here. The idea, middle mouse wheel, is to move your side to side here, by the way. Scroll in and out. See, I can make different hills. As I do it, I may want to smooth those over, so I could do smooth height, which is right here, and I can kind of round those off. See, I can round them off after the fact. So smooth height is a really cool way to kind of smooth those over. And you have, blur, so you can kind of, that's how it blurs down. And then there's set height, which I like. If you pick a value, so right now it's at 0. Let's say I put in 5. And wherever I paint, it's going to be a height of 5. As you can see, that's very helpful. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of cover up this terrain with some mountains, some hills, and kind of enjoy that process. Be careful not to go too hog wild with your height. What often happens is you go to raise lower and you have all these values cranked up and you find that your terrain lifts too high off the edge, which isn't terrible, but you'll find that it might get a little out of control and hard to manage. Remember to smooth height to kind of round off some of these if you need to, or set height at some value. So you can create different heights. Return to paint texture. Choose your, brown texture if that's what you're going for. Don't spend too much time on this just yet. What we want to do first is what we do next is put the first person character in there so we know kind of how it looks and feels as we design our land. So let's take a break from working on the terrain. Let's come over to our assets folder. First person. Next we're going to do is bring in our first person controller so we can walk around. We're going to come over to our terrain demo assets. Going to go to mini first person controller and drag out our first person controller. When you hit play, now you can walk around your scene. Another thing to note is over here on the left, can run. We want to actually click that on, and raise the number to say 12. So now when you hold shift, you can run a little faster along your scene. What we want to do now is we want to add some foliage, some trees. So let's go over to terrain. And over here where it says paint trees, we're going to click on paint trees. Edit trees, add tree. This pops up. We're going to choose this little dot over here. And let's try conifer, I believe. Conifer desktop, is that correct? Let's see. Oh, hey, you gotta click add. And voila, we have some trees. Now you can see the brush size will dictate how many trees. Now these look pretty tall, so let's hit play and see. It's probably a good height. But we can change how high and how low our random tree placements are. So I'll bring this down here and try. Let's see if I can do that. Oh yeah, I gotta select it. Sorry, select it. There we go, smaller trees. So I don't like these trees, so I'm going to hold shift and erase these trees. So holding shift will erase them. Let's have a look. There we go. If you're into palm trees, we do have, I believe, some palm trees. So let's go palm. Oops, got to add. There we go. And now we have some palm trees. Now these are kind of small. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise up that height a little bit. There we go. Let's have a look, see the difference. Yeah, that works. So you can paint your palm trees. Now I have some conifers. I believe I brought in some, grass flowers. So that is under this tab. Paint details, edit, add grass. So we're going to go into here. I'm going to type in grass. I have some grass, flowery grass, texture, regular grass. Let's try regular grass. Now you got to be careful with this. Oh, I got to add it. There we go. You can see the grass. See, these are like tall grasses.
This one probably was fine with it.
Add another texture and try a different one. Oop, my bad. That didn't work. Let's try that again. Grass texture, that's what we want. Now you don't want to use these, you want to use the ones that look like grasses. Select it, and then you add it. So let's take a look. Obviously taller. You can also just drag the trees and flowers and grasses in. No. I take that back. I believe you can, let's see. Speed tree, palm. Okay, we can drag a palm tree in one at a time. And of course you can resize it using the scale tools here. It's a broadleaf tree. You could scale that down if you want to. So again, if you wanted to paint the broadleaf tree, you click on terrain, you go to trees, edit trees, add tree. It's called broadleaf. Make sure it's in here. And let's see, let's bring it down, paint some in there like that. Got two types of broadleaf trees here. Here's another one. And next I want to show you water. So water's kind of fun. What you're going to do is come over to raise lower terrain, because what I want to do is I want to set height to like 5. Good size brush, basic brush. Make a place for the water to sit, so the water will sit in here. You can obviously fix this up however you want, different heights. So now we're going to go to water basic, prefab, and there's two of them here. One I think is night, one is day. So we want water basic day. Notice how small it is. We have to scale it up. I'm using the center square, but you can also do long and width. And we're going to raise it up. Raise it up so it's kind of fits a little basin here. Like that. Go back to terrain. So make sure you're selected on the terrain. And I'm going to go back to painting my texture, because I would like to add some dirt around it. I'm going to go back to my paint trees. Paint some palms around it maybe. I don't know. Conifers. I'm going to go to my grasses. Throw in some grasses in there, very sparingly. I believe I can change the strength of the grass, but I can't change the height. Now I can move my first person character over there so I can sample that area. Apparently my first person character didn't go over there. So now I gotta run over there. There we go. Alright. So from this point on, you guys can continue with the rest of my tutorial series, which is creating huts. Alright. Thank you.